The views expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect those of this station.
Welcome to Insights into Northeast Michigan, a WBKB News public affairs program. Insights deals with the issues affecting those in the community, as well as Northeast Michigan and the state. And now, Insights into Northeast Michigan.
Welcome everyone to this edition of Insights. We're taking an in-depth look of the aerial unmanned aircraft system that we have going on in Alpena. And here to join me is Tom Mullaney, who is the first vice chairman of the Michigan Aerial Consortium Board. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So you guys just officially launched your organization this week. What is the purpose of MIAASC?
Well, yeah, we did the official ribbon cutting yesterday, and this is to number one, get the word out that this is where we're at. This is what we're doing. Everybody come and see, and this is why this is the best spot to come and develop, build, and fly your systems that you have. So it was mostly a here we are type deal yesterday.
Right. And how is your board supporting the development of unmanned aircrafts?
Well, what our whole system is right now, and is that allowing companies to move in and develop so that, and we supply a location and a framework for them to get involved with other type of businesses and corporations. So they have one central place to call that if they're asking about another company who's also in the field, what are they doing in exchange of ideas. So we have a technical side of it, an actual operations side. We supply if they need hangar space, if they need places to keep their people when they come up. So we're a sort of a one-shop deal for testing and research.
And why is testing and research so important?
Well, the field of robotics and the field of unmanned systems is just going leaps and bounds. Is expected into the $20 billion range within the next few years. Already around $7 billion has been spent in the research, development, and construction of these types of devices. So the future is so wide open that the important part of this is to have a central area for the development.
Okay. And during this week's press conference, you guys also went over the structure and funding of the whole operation. How is it going to be structured, and where do we kind of move on from?
Well, we already have the corporation in place. The funding is part of it is going to be still through the state of Michigan, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. That is the primary one right now. What we'll be doing is like selling shares into our corporation and into the usage. So if they want to use the area, there's a fee for that. If they want to join as a member of our group, a fee for that. So that will help pay for that. We need to hire a CEO for the corporation, a general manager. So this amount of funding is really, critical at this time.
And who can kind of get involved in this program? Because I heard you say you have hangar space, you have just all these different entities that people can get involved in.
Well, it's basically fairly wide open. If you have an interest or you believe that your company or your organization or you yourself would want to be involved in this field, want to get the information that we put together, want to sit in on our webinars or any of our meetings, almost anybody could get involved in it. It primarily would be mostly people in the development of unmanned vehicles, especially in the field of also sensor development, people who build the sensors that go onto these devices.
Okay. And so is this kind of both for military and commercial use then?
Yeah, the field of military is fairly well developed. I mean, it could still also be in, all of them have some aspects of, you can always develop something for civilian use and it turns military or vice versa. The big open field now is actually in the commercial field. There's probably more money to be made in the commercial field than in the military field, which is somewhat saturated, but still, there are still some parts of that that are still wide open because everybody's thinking of something new all the time.
Right, right. So what would commercial use, how would they use these unmanned aircrafts to benefit themselves?
Well, again, it's the unmanned aircraft. Also, it's the sensors, and that's the important part of it. Say running a unmanned vehicle the length of a gas line or a pipeline which runs hundreds of miles. And what these sensors would be looking for is discoloration of the, say, the vegetation, where that would show maybe there's a leak. It would then also show if there's any type of discoloration because of spillage. And this would be almost impossible to do, by a person driving over it, because most of these pipelines go over some very tough territory and stuff. Power lines, they would run the length of power lines. Also, in the sensors on these, also in the field of agriculture, it can seek out that if there is insects or some type of fungus or something involving in a very large field. You see some of these cornfields that go on for a couple miles. That could pick that out and then return that information back to the owners. Oh,
wow. So really helpful for any industry that's looking to have kind of an aerial view.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And also into especially here in northern Michigan, the lumbering field. If they wanted to take a look at what a area of growth of trees looks like, they could run that across there and get a picture of that whole area. Also, with trees, then you also have forest fires. This could be an early spotter of a small fire going on and get to that fire before it turns into a large fire.
Oh, wow. So it sounds like so many benefits can actually come from this.
Oh, yeah. The one person I was talking to from Michigan Tech, which is part of our group, they were looking to keep track of these large cluster of algae that are in the lakes and how do they move and where do they go. So yeah, there is many uses for them in the commercial field, much more actually than in the military field.
Okay, great. Well, when we come back from the break, we'll take a more in-depth look about how unmanned aircraft testing is helping not only the state of Michigan, but us here locally in Alpena. Welcome back from the break, everybody. Before we left you, we were talking about the benefits of unmanned aircraft testing in commercial use. But Tom, and this is kind of the question that everyone has had, why here in Alpena?
Well, we meet and that's why in the bid process with the FAA looking for picking another site, is that we meet all the requirements. We have the 3 seasons, and that's important because winter, fall, and the summertime seasons for testing of these unmanned vehicles. Also, we have the largest amount of freshwater testing. There's a lot of development going on certain devices that are used in fresh water or are going to be stored in fresh water for a period of time. We have the large amount of ice. We have the international borders. We border with Canada, so there'd be a joint training between us and the Canadians. And we have the largest restricted airspace of any place east of the Mississippi. Nobody has this amount of airspace. So for our push to the FAA, we mentioned all these spots, and that's what makes us we believe at the top of the group.
All right, yeah, it sounds like it. And I've talked to a lot of government officials as well as military, and they've all said that this is not only going to help us here in Alpena, but the state of Michigan as a whole. How do you think that this will affect the state?
Yeah, well, first of all, just in the industry itself, if we get the designation, and we believe we will, it will then create a stimulus of those different companies saying, we operate in a state that has been chosen by the FAA, and that this would then bring in other people and would also stimulate growth in that field. And as far as the military is concerned, of course, it's no big news thing about the fact that there's a lot of cutbacks going on in the military. It would help preserve, number one, the base here and other bases throughout Michigan that would be needed for support and for testing. And then when you talk about the military, and that's our other special thing, we have the Dasher 11, which is a type of radar that if you throw your hat up in the air over in Hillman, we'll pick it up here on the Dasher 11 over in Alpena.
Oh, wow, that's great.
And that's part of, that's always been a problem with unmanned vehicles, is that you used to have to send a chase plane. If you went beyond sight line, you had to send another plane up to watch it to make sure it wasn't going astray. This way with the Dasher 11, no matter where it goes up here, they know where it's at.
Right, fantastic. And just as this project progresses, how will this help the economy with job growth?
Well, and we're hoping that, and what we're foreseeing is that these companies moving up here, we have over 900 acres of land that the county owns that's adjacent to the airport. It has now been cleared, a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it's been cleared. We have it subdivided, we have it set up for water and sewer. So our expectation is that for these companies that we would either lease the land to them and they could build, or we sell the land to them and then someone else can build it. But it'll be a stimulation in the, number one, the construction business right off the bat. Power, water, sewer rates, and the construction that would go into that part. Also, then, if they're going to be doing all your testing, research, and everything, you might as well move up here and then move into the area. So we are looking for like an input of possibly more people. Definitely, you know, more of a building surge, and on top of the building surge, which means they would probably want to have also houses built. So we're thinking as far as the roll-off type, they're going to go shopping here. They're going to have to buy gas, etc.
And it wouldn't only be a momentary employment rise, saying construction and those kind of things, because those are short-term projects, but it would also improve the economy long-term.
Yes, because in this field, this is in the electronics field, and anybody knows right now that who owns a laptop computer or has a regular desktop computer, by the time you set it up in your house, it's obsolete. There's about a life expectancy of 3 to 5 years on any type of computer, and that's being thrown out and you're buying a new one. Same in this field. This is a continually evolving field, because as they build these devices, those devices then stimulate the birth of new devices to either go along with those devices or to countermand those devices. So you have to be, I think the development stages and the testing and the movement in that field, like I said, the billions of dollars that are still to be made in this field, and we're not going to get all $20 billion, but we certainly would like a good part of that.
Right, definitely. Well, where are we in the stages of this?
Well, right now, it's probably one of the more critical stages. It is, we're expecting a decision by December. We don't necessarily think it will be there by December, but we think it's supposed to be. Right now, it's a matter of, I hate to bring up the word politics, but it's a matter of political influence. Who is going to probably say the right thing to the right people? So we are now relying on the governor's office, the two U.S. senators, Senator Levin and Stabenow, Congressman Benachek, and some other congressmen throughout the state to whisper in the ears of the FAA what a great place we are.
Right. And if you do get approval from the FAA, what happens next?
I think first we're going to throw a party. That would be the first
Celebrate.
thing. Yeah, probably celebrate. That designation then would as far as our efforts to then bring in different people and corporations would quadruple. I mean, we would then, we would probably be very proud of it, and we would probably raise up a lot of flags, and we would be doing it. We'd be contacting a lot of people saying, look at this, we have this, and here we are.
Right, move on up to Alpena.
Move on up, yeah.
Time to make some moves. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
When we come back from the break, we'll take the military standpoint from the Unmanned Aircraft Testing Project. Welcome back, everybody, from the break. And now joining me is Colonel Teff, who is a colonel in the Air Force. And you guys actually have a large part in this unmanned aircraft project. What is your role?
Well, back when it first started in 2011, we came on board right from the beginning. It's more of an assistance and an advisory nature, but we're trying to help out wherever we can, especially with our airspace and some of our equipment assets and things like that to help and assist get this project off the ground.
Okay, and why was it important for you guys to kind of assist in this project?
It's got a lot of importance for us, not only on the military but the civilian side as well, because there's really limited opportunities for private organizations and businesses to test these kind of unmanned aerial systems, and that includes military as well. As we've been moving through the last couple of years, we're actually, as part of our strategic planning, unmanned aerial systems have become a big part of at the Combat Readiness Training Center, our overall plan. So we obviously have a vested interest in the success of this program because there's a lot of synergies with the military that we could take advantage of based on the success of the either the FAA Test Center designation or the business cluster model that's being worked here in Alpena.
Right, and that kind of brings me into my next question. Why is this so important, the testing?
The testing, because there's just not a lot of places where you can test the unmanned aerial system. And it's kind of like cell phones a little bit. It's really new technology, and it's going to grow really, really fast. So if we can get on the leading edge of that, I think for Alpena, there's a big opportunity for more jobs, and that's important, and additional business in the town, and that's important. And then, you know, the military, we can take advantage of some of those civilian relationships that we built.
Definitely, and we're lucky to have the aerial project right here in our backyards, right at the CRTC. Why is it so important? You talked a little bit about it, but why is it so important, do you feel like, to have this here in Alpena?
In Alpena, we have a lot of assets. I mentioned it before, not only our airspace, we have the largest airspace complex east of the Mississippi. So with that asset, along with our equipment assets, and frankly, the people with the knowledge, we've already got those people right here in Alpena. So it's really important for us to capitalize on that. And then on the military side, you know, the unmanned systems, in the military they call them remotely piloted aircraft or unmanned aerial systems. That's another advancing mission. It's a growth industry for the military.
Definitely.
And we want to be on the leading edge of a growth industry, especially as the military is shrinking. You know, we need to look at ways where we can grow quickly and we can be unique, and we're doing that. And this project's great for us.
Definitely. And with your assistance in this program, how do you guys feel like this is going to progress?
I think it's going to progress. Let me first address the Test Center of Excellence designation. The FAA is going to select 6. We were very fortunate in Alpena. We made the first cut into the final 25 from 50. Well, I don't know how that's actually going to go, and I don't know the exact process. However, even if we don't get the Test Center of Excellence designation, I think the business cluster model, we can also use that and capitalize on some of those synergies and move forward. I think the project overall, it's got a 3 to 5 year window to get it really fully off the ground, but we're really looking at the long-term effect where, none of us may be around, but in 100 years, what is this thing really going to look like?
Exactly. And will the military continue to kind of be a lead and assisting role in this project?
Probably, just because of the fact that we have that, we manage and own the airspace here,
Right.
and you have to have airspace to actually test unmanned systems. So certainly we'll be involved there, and I think we'll be involved with some of our equipment. We also, a little bit uniquely, we run the air traffic control facility. So the military runs the civilian and military air traffic control. And we have a unique radar here in Alpena that will allow us to maybe more easily fly unmanned systems.
Right. And for some people, I know people, you hear different views all the time. Some of them are cautioned about it just because they think Big Brother's watching them.
Right.
What would you say to those people?
I would say it's not that big of a deal because that's not what we do in the military. We're in protected airspace. We already have designated targets that we're looking at with these sensors. So we're certainly not looking in anybody's window or in their vehicle or in their backyard.
Right.
So it's not that big of a deal. We've actually been doing it in the military for quite some time with manned aircraft. So there's really no difference in the unmanned aircraft. It'll be the same rules will apply.
Right. And so for commercial use, what do you think the biggest importance is in having unmanned aircraft systems?
Like I said before, it's a brand new technology, and there's so many applications on the civilian world. Yesterday we did our DV day, and we demonstrated for the civilians a search and rescue application of a drone or an unmanned aerial system. That's just one of many, you know, where you could use that. NOAA actually uses unmanned systems, and we have a NOAA right here in Alpena.
Right.
The ones in Florida actually use the Puma, which we demonstrated yesterday, to do different mission sets for the NOAA. So there's lots of applications, and it's untapped.
Right.
So to get on the leading edge of that's really important.
Definitely a huge industry that has exponential growth opportunities. So
Exactly.
good to see that it's here in Alpena.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Felina. Appreciate it.
That'll wrap it up for this edition of Insights. You can catch us back here next Sunday. Have a good afternoon.
Insights into Northeast Michigan is produced by WBKB News. If you have any comments, suggestions, or topics you would like to see on a future show, please email WBKB News. This has been a production of Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation. All rights reserved.